I was about 9 or 10 years sober, and then I took a drink again, drank for a couple of years. I just had totally blacked out. I was doing heroin, and I was in a total blurry blackout coming home to my wife and my sister who knew, and just was the most horrific day with them two in the house with me, bleeding, begging, trying not to let me out of the house. It was the most humiliating circumstance I ever had.
Is There More is the podcast where creators share how their darkest moments became the breakthroughs that changed everything. We're building a space for raw stories, deep connection, and real hope for everyone who's still writing their story. Brought to you by Dialogue Life Skills, the world's scalable solution to the teen and young adult mental health crisis. I'm your host, Megan A. Tully, and I'm listening. What if the darkest part of your life became the thing that brought you the closest to God? Pepe has been shot, locked up, and addicted to heroin, but he says that it was unconditional love that finally saved him. Today on Is There More, we talk about addiction, creativity, and what it means to live from the inside out. Welcome, Spaghetti Pepe. Pepe, I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. Thanks for getting on tonight.
Absolutely. It was a process.
It was a long process. It took us 40 minutes to get here, so.
If that's the worst thing that happens to us the rest of our life, we're in such good shape.
Totally. How's your night going so far?
It's good. Just, working today a little bit. Mondays are our day off, basically. I mean, closed, but pretty good. Just chilling.
Chilling. Day
Mhm.
off. You're a restaurant owner. Can you tell me more about that?
Well, been in the restaurant business basically my whole life. My grandparents had restaurants. All my families had restaurants. My wife's people had restaurants. So we just almost got, our DNA kind of like born into it, basically.
Where are you
And
guys from, your family, originally?
well, St. Louis, born and raised, but my grandparents, great grandparents are from Southern Italy on my mom's side, and my dad's French. So,
Gotcha. Two
couple,
big foodies.
yeah, they were all pretty much, based around food. Our whole kind of cultural experience is food.
Did you follow in their footsteps, or what was your...
Well, actually, my mom and my dad like took a break from, the generational stuff to raise kids because they knew, how engulfing it was. And but we always had a close knit with our, cooking and our culture. And, I had aunts and uncles that all had restaurants. Skip to, 20 years later when I started buying, working in restaurants, and then just kind of picked it up again. And yeah, it was really has shaped my whole life pretty much in a good way, I think.
Was there a time where your life, like, wasn't so good, or
Well,
what made it shape it in a good way?
yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of things happen, when you're kind of creative or a creative, and then on top of it being in an industry that is driven by, alcohol for sure, because, wine and booze is part of kind of the restaurant culture. And
Yeah.
of course, there's drugs. So, I mean, I think that there's so much pressure that goes with having to produce all the time that, the downtime is like, whoa, I just want to kind of relax. And, we find ways to do that. And I guess for some people, it's a way to be with people and spend time, but some people I just guess that are have an allergic reaction to alcohol. I tell people all the time I'm allergic to alcohol, and they're like, "Whoa, really? What's the deal?" I say, "Yeah, every time I drink, I break out in handcuffs." So there's a lot of consequences involved if you're, I think if you're chemically dependent or alcoholic, if you will. I think that there's a physical side and a mental side, and they kind of it's like a gerbil wheel. You get on, it's hard to get off. You get
Yeah.
off it, and then kind of the spiritual aspect of the disease takes on just, you know, in human life on life's terms, and was trying to deal with that without being, but you know, it's a journey, and I'm glad I'm at where I'm now in the journey because I just, I realized that I, you know, just digest a lot of the craziness and just try to regurgitate love and creativity. And that's kind of working for me now.
Yeah, I think it's cool that you got to that point. I never wanted to be in the restaurant business, although, like, that's what obviously most of my friends in entertainment were in, um,
Sure.
because of the alcohol, actually. I was just very scared that I'm already, like, predispositioned to be an addict, and I was already kind of on that path, and I was like, "Dude, if there was alcohol available every time of day, I wouldn't make it." Like, I would be drunk
Mhm.
all day, every day. So I guess I can relate to the slippery slope of not, like, wanting to just, like, have fun and not think about the day, but yeah, I guess it's a real issue, in any kind of, service business or even, like, sales. I've heard it's, like,
Yeah.
the main pastime after work.
I think, you know, again, man, not everybody I think is alcoholic, predisposition to the disease, you know, to the actual physical malady of being alcoholic. I think that, you know, again, it's two parts. The physical part that I think that, you know, whether it's a gene or whether it's just the allergic type, if you will, there's that, and some people have and some people don't. And you know, I'm grateful if that's the way it is that I have it, because I feel like it's brought me closer to the universe in a way that's being able to tap into a lot of things that I don't think that maybe other people can, or maybe they tap in other ways. You know, if fishing worked, man, I'd be out fishing every day. Go, oh, I love fishing. I love fishing. You know, but that worked for me in a point that it took me to where, you know, to find that it wasn't necessarily working on the human factor. You know, I don't want to get into the craziness, but I just feel like that it's brought me to a point where I've really connected with the universe in ways that I probably couldn't have when I was in that cycle.
Okay.
So very grateful for where I am and what I've done. I'm sure the people around me weren't so grateful at the time when some things were happening, but you know, you're
Okay.
sure not going to go up to the guy that's got cancer and sick and go, "Hey, man, can't you just get up? You know, can't you go to work? Can't you do that?" You know, if they could, they had, you know, a disease. So
Yeah.
that's
Wow. Well, that's interesting. So if I got that you feel like you're really grateful for the time that you did spend, like, having this, addictive personality towards specifically alcohol, right?
I
Because
totally.
in a way
Well,
it brought you closer to spirituality and,
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't particularly say that I was, you know, just alcohol. It was, you know, for me, it's whatever you got.
mm,
I'm not, you know, I'm not particular when it comes to like,
getting
that's all.
into the beyond. Okay,
Yeah, whatever you got.
got you.
Yeah,
Whatever you got, I got you.
right.
Um, but you did mention that some people wouldn't have liked, maybe wouldn't have been so supportive in those times, but it sounds like you had good people around you who helped you actually get through that time in your life.
Yeah, you know, the best. I mean, some were enabling and some were, you know, enabling enough to let go and say, that's enough of that.
That's
And
cool.
some were like, oh no, you got to go. So all those combinations kind of worked, you
Mm,
know. Sometimes you just can't see the truth in front of you until you get past it and you go, oh man, thank you.
yeah,
For
like,
sure.
until, like, you lose a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I mostly gave stuff away, you know, like I thought that I lost it, but I just gave it away. Relationships, material things, you know, just because of the need to have that situation. Um, People, I think, give away a lot of things because it's so intense of a disease that they can't not separate themselves from other things. It's too much more important to have that. Okay, then the love of a daughter, a parent, a job, you know,
Mhm.
at the time it's like, no, I don't care.
Mm.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's a
I
really cool
think
perspective, like giving stuff away versus losing things, because that kind of gives you your power back in a way, in a sense, right?
yeah, sometimes I mean, if you lose some, you become a victim. Oh, I lost it, oh God, I lost this, I lost that. No, man, I freely gave it away self-centeredly to say, okay, man, I need this more than I need that.
Wow.
You
Dude,
know what
how
I
did you
mean? And
get to that point?
well, I think people have to get to that point and understand that, and some
Yeah,
people don't. I mean,
but how did
look,
you get to that point, though? Specifically you.
I think until the pain gets greater than the pride and the ego, which are pretty much ma- human kind of sins, if you will, most humans have a high tolerance for pain in their ego, and until that's depleted, I think the universe says, go ahead, son, let me know how it works out for you. I got you, and here you go, and I'll spin you around and put you places and show you from before what I did for you.
Mm.
But until that, it's kind of like that game whack-a-mole, man. You pop up, boom, the guy goes, boom, he hits you, here comes the whack-a-mole, bam. So, you take all these hits in life, and, sooner or later, it's like, whoa, I got to figure out, from all these things, really what's going on with me, how, I can't keep having nothing and surround yourself with nothing in a room with nobody and just think that that's where I want to be. And, some people's can go to the gates of insanity and death. If we look at LA and go down a Skid Row, and you'll see that type of alcoholic. And then you can go just into the corporate world and find an alcoholic that's got that pride and ego. So it's more of a social disease after you put the drink down. It's a mental disease, much more. I think pride and ego kills more people than alcohol ever does, or guns.
Wow.
You know.
That's a that's an amazing statement, yeah. Huh. So, at what point did this disease start for you in your life?
Well, early, I older brothers, and again, not blaming anybody. It was just subjected to early some drugs and alcohol. But I think that even taking that first drink and that first kind of like, whoa, here we go, was something that I chased because it was like it did for me what I couldn't do for myself
Mm.
at 12, 13 years old. And then you're like, okay, well, this is cool. And then cool became a deadly chasing situation, you know, like it became to where you have to have it no matter what. So, I think the non-alcoholic person, here's the difference between me and the non-alcoholic. The non-alcoholic goes to the judge, and the judge, he has a drinking episode or DWI, and just says, I hear you, see you're here again, you're going to do some jail time. He goes home, he has his life. It's very nice to his wife. I go to the judge and he says that, I go pack my bags because I know I'm going. I cannot not do that. So you start early and then you progress and then you go through, like, whoa, all that stuff that I'm talking about until, and sometimes it's like you have to pick up again and go, wow, was I really that bad? And
Mm.
it's like, oh, yeah, you're really that bad. So you might as well just relax. It's like a war. I mean, and your brain's going, "Oh, yes, no, yes, no," and then it's like the only war where you can concede and win.
Wow.
You know?
What was, like, the darkest point that you ever got to with that? The point that made you be like, "I need to make a change."
Well, I'll tell you, man. I was about 9 or 10 years sober, and then I took a drink again, drank for a couple of years, and drugs, whatever. And I tell you, I was out in L.A. doing a show of art show as a chef and pop up, and I just had totally blacked out. I was doing heroin and I just So I lost the drug, and I was sick for a couple days, and I really couldn't even get out to the show after I set it up with the guy.
Mm.
And he didn't know that, of course. And then I found my stuff the day leaving back home, and I was in a total blurry blackout coming home to my wife and my sister who knew, and just was the most horrific day with them two in the house with me, pleading, begging, trying not to let me out of the house. It was the most humiliating um, circumstance I ever had. So it wasn't like it was like getting shot, which I've been shot a couple times, or being locked up, which I've been locked up, or running around doing my thing. It was that minute
Mm.
that said, "Man, these loving people." There was so much love there that it overtook the negative aspect of what I was doing and how
Wow.
delusional I was, and it just really catapulted me into the fourth dimension, man, really did. It was an amazing experience. Again, not so amazing for them, but the unconditional love that they gave me that day was enough to be done with it.
Wow.
And, you know, so I guess some people call it a spiritual awakening or, spiritual experience, whatever, but it was intense enough for them and me at the same time, like a collision of soul, spirits, and they won.
Mm.
Thank God. So, yeah.
So, let me see if I got that. So your worst time in your life was when you went to LA for a job, you had heroin, you ended up blacking out while you were there, you lost it, you found it, you blacked out on the way home, and you had to spend a day with your wife and and your sister in a
Hmm.
house,
In my house,
in your
my
house,
wife, our house, when my sister was here.
and they were trying to get you not to leave.
Yes.
And it was humiliating to you, but also you recognized at some point that they were giving you unconditional love, and that was the thing that had you, see there's more, like, to this life than the human body. Did I get that?
Yeah.
Is there more to that?
No, I mean that's it. That was the experience. And of course I could have woke up the next day and went and did my thing, but that was enough to be like, no, that's it. I realized how much there was there, just right there, besides all the other stuff, that I probably could have lost, gave away, whatever you want to call it, gave away at the time. That was
Mm.
way second to that. So,
Have you been clean from heroin ever since?
yes, everything. So,
Everything, wow.
it's and like out of the last let's see, 20, almost 30 years, I've been clean for about 20 of those years
Mm,
or more.
yeah,
23 23.
wow.
So,
So you stayed with your wife, right? You're the
oh
same
yeah.
wife you have now. So how did
Hmm.
your relationship, like, I don't know, change from that moment or
Well, I mean, she knew my history, so I mean, that was, there was quite a bit of, my wife is very caregiving. I would say so much like enabling, but she's a caretaker, and she has a lot of people that she looks after and takes care of. Her dad was sick for a long time, so she got a brother that's chemically dependent. So she knows the ups and downs of the disease.
Wow.
Doesn't mean she's gonna tolerate it, but, I think that there's like a aha moment for her too. God, man, please, you know? I
Mhm.
mean, we've known each other since we were in grade school, and so we've basically known each other our whole life,
Yeah.
and, she's amazing, just one of those people that one of those ordinary people that's extraordinary.
Yeah. Seems like she's doing very extraordinary things. Has she ever had any, like, substance abuse herself, or is it just, like, kinda
No, actually, when she has a couple drinks, it's amazing. She can have a couple drinks and say, "No, I'm good," So she's never really partied like that.
yeah.
Very just responsible person and smart, and she has business. I mean, she has a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally, it's a lot, especially a
Yeah.
restaurant business. What about your sister? Did you stay close with her and, like, your
Oh
parents?
yeah. Yeah, we're still, close. We always had a close family. My mom's, she's 92. She's a caretaker too. My sister was always a caretaker. My dad died of cancer early. My brother died of cancer early. She's always been that person in our family. So, and I'm the youngest. She's the second to me. So we've always been close. And yeah, she's helped me throughout my kind of career in food, and also just I was basically raised with my sisters. They're two older sisters, and they raised me. My mom and dad worked two jobs all their lives, so my sisters were like straightening me out for sure. I
Nice.
mean, for real.
Wow.
Oh yeah, they didn't play. I
Wow.
was maybe I wasn't a very good kid either.
You needed some straightening out.
Absolutely.
Hey, they were the girls for that. I'm glad you had them.
Yeah, they definitely didn't play. You mess with one of them, you get the wrath of two.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Imagine. That's pretty funny. I bet they had a good time with that too.
Oh yeah, they used to see all kinds of shit in me. I'm a little kid. They dressed me up in whatever, you
Yeah.
know.
Did your
What
hair
was like
yeah.
their experiment. Of course,
Yeah.
that happened. Yes.
Mhm. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
So, if you
Yeah.
could go back and tell kid version of you before all of this madness started, one piece of advice, what would it be?
Well, I mean, I think you got to believe in the love around you and understand how that works. I mean, I I always, when I was younger, even before I was, participating in that shit, I was an athlete and really good athlete all the way through high school and college. So it wasn't like I was just doing drugs every day. I trained as an athlete. I played soccer until I got hurt. But I think you just gotta, kind of have the right motivation and the right people around you and understand, because some people don't get to experience that.
How do you find the right motivation? Or would you say that the motivation was around you, you just didn't see it?
The motivation was definitely around me, and I did see it, and then, it kind of got blurred out just by other things. I had loving parents. I mean, some people don't have that.
Mhm.
So it wasn't anything particularly that anything happened to me that had these bad experiences. I mean, they were mostly of my choices or not being able to make the choices. But I think that, I mean, I have some young kids that I work with now, and I think I have to be a mentor to them in a positive way where, a lot of times these days people don't want to spend time with younger people to help them to develop, to understand how to have relationships and not just go have sex, how to have, fun and not tear up shit, these things that we get lucky sometimes to have people around us to do that for us. I
Right.
think most adults need that too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you actually hit it on
Mentoring.
yeah, mentoring, definitely. I mean, I think mentoring is kind of a two-way street with children and adults because you learn a lot from your
Sure.
kids or, like, younger people
Absolutely.
too. But it's interesting that you hit it on the head when you said, like, my parents were busy working 2 jobs, so I wasn't even really parented by them, like, it was my sisters who sort of reprimanded me or were around to know what was going on. So, yeah, I guess, like, generations who get brought up where their parents are like always working probably don't have the
Mhm,
same experience as generations who like have, I don't know, they're more economically stable or whatever.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
So when was this when you finally, I guess, got clean? What year was this or how old were you?
Well, this is, again, there was a couple of relapses throughout the 20 years, a couple, but for the last probably 5 years, I've been pretty focused in just recovery and mental change and physical change and, you know, the whole kind of gamut of mind, body, and spirit. It's just, I'm 60, so it's
So 20 years ago was your like come to God moment. So since then, you've kind of done a lot of really cool stuff. When did you open your restaurant? When did you start doing Psycho Chef? Like, what has your professional trajectory been since then, since you've started to get more focused back and things like that?
well, let's see. So, I mean, I've always kind of had restaurants, even when I was, not doing so well, but some were good, some were bad. I'd say, I've had a couple in the last 10 years that have, one I just sold actually this week. And then the Pinot's been 10-year anniversary for my main restaurant. So,
Oh,
and,
congrats.
and thank you. And the professional career has been, marred by, I think a little bit of the distraction of the disease. But I did a film about 20 years ago. So I always, I write and sing. I used to do that before really I was doing a lot of restauranting. So, but again, in music or whatever, it's kind of hard to make a living doing that. So I'm glad that, I had a base of the restaurant business under me when I was younger to understand, at least I can make money and how to become a better cook, if you will, chef, whatever. But I mean, I think these days I'm more of a chef than I was a cook, and it's kind of catapulted me into some other things like the Spaghetti Wars project and this Psycho Chef project that I'm working on. So I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out where the universe is pushing me. Um, I still like to bang pots every day and go in and kind of get my head right with being able to. I resentment cook a lot. I kind of cook away my
Mm,
resentments,
like therapy.
but it is. It's definitely therapy. I mean, cooking for me has really saved my life more than anything. More than I mean, most people know. You
Mm,
know, I don't think it's being the best at something. I think it's using what you have to create the best in you. Whether people think you're the best or not, that has no bearing on what you do. You
mm.
know,
Did you use cooking as like a you know how they say, like, every time you wanna drink or you wanna binge eat or whatever, substitute it with, like, going on a walk or in your case, like, making a steak, like, is that kind of
uh,
what you
uh,
mean
uh,
or
yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely part of it. I think, again, with anything in life, outside of, let's just put alcohol to the side, you said eating or whatever.
Mhm,
I think that on the other side of these human things is the spiritual aspect of life. If you want to say the seven deadly sins, fine,
mm,
because that's life on life's terms. So if you put one thing down, all those other things go into hyperspeed, like, okay, fear, anxiety, self depression, this, that. How are you sooner or later going to tap into the inside and say, I'm okay with this? I'm okay with this. I don't care about this. It's just like chatter out here. My spirit has nothing to do with money, with material things, with my relationship with my wife. Although, when it's right, all these other things that I do second become first class.
mm,
So, how do I get my spirit right? And I think that there's a lot to that. The main things for me is the right kind of food, energy, and a lot of just relaxing.
hmm,
If you can, sleep.
yeah,
I mean, you have to put all that stuff together to go out and be able to live in this world of, just think of how many spirits are in this world. and they're all flying around. It's like for, you know, a
Yeah.
lot of spiritually disruptive people.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to live from the inside out, and that's a hard way. It takes a lot.
Yeah.
You know, every day.
Yeah. I've been to your restaurant and it has really cool things on the menu. Are you like solely responsible for coming up with all of those recipes?
Oh, pretty much at my place, I am. I had some people that I've worked with throughout the years, and I worked for a lot of other people that I've kind of developed styles and techniques from them and flavor profiles, and especially my mom. My mom was amazing because she cooked with her grandma and very poor, so using everything that they got from scratch. And so that really is my greatest asset, I think, is just taking raw materials and putting them into motion, if you will. So, for me, that's the easier part is creating. The harder part is like this picture behind somebody, one person did that. For
Mm,
us to get a plate of food, like in a presentation or even a basic presentation, takes about 10 to 12 people to get it to the table.
wow.
So, there's a lot of like teamwork that has to happen. So, yeah, creating a dish is one thing, but, like the band leader, the orchestra leader, trying to get everybody to do their thing, that's a little bit difficult sometimes. But we've been pretty good at our restaurant now because we have a lot of the same people. So they understand kind of some of the techniques and how to get the techniques right.
Yeah.
Because they're like basic food with good technique.
Okay. Basic food with good technique. That's one of the things I really liked about being on set of Spaghetti Wars was watching like everybody work together. To me, it was like a film set because that's similar. Like you need like, yeah, like at least a 10-person crew to even do like one scene. And so it was cool like seeing everybody in the kitchens work together or like fight in some cases. Where did you come up with the idea for Spaghetti Wars?
Spaghetti Wars is definitely a combination of it's really the transformation of people. I don't even consider it a cooking show. I consider it a cultural show inside a cooking competition.
Mm,
And everything I thought about in, the family style of the Italians with the restaurant and all the international people. It just was a good combination because it's really comes back to like working as a team, the
mm,
pride, the ego, all these selfish things. If you can't get over those, even with the cast members, because we just tasted a little bit of that. That's good. If once we move forward with it, which I know we will at some point, that's gonna get that's gonna get good too.
yeah.
A lot of big personalities.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, I thought the cast was great, but that's really what it's about, the recreation of people,
Yeah,
how they deal with other people. So, and I mean, in that life in general,
yeah. And how they deal with other people from different cultures is interesting.
totally, totally.
Especially when it's all supposed to be Italian, but they're cooking Italian food from different Italian cultures.
Well, I mean, that's part of it. We bought, a boss from another country who's very traditional. We had a family that was not so traditional, that were, cosmopolitan cooking, but Italian based. And then we had a family of kind of, traditional Italian that had a lot of personality flaws because they couldn't come together as a family.
Mm,
So, it kind of was the good first pilot. It was like the genie in the bottle. And it was just, it just worked out. Now, will people understand that when we go to sell that? They're so cookie cutter designed for cooking shows that I think it might come out eventually and be more of a cultural show than necessarily a cooking show. So,
interesting.
mm, if it doesn't work, I'll pivot to the next project that I'm working on, one way or the other. it's not going to make me any different. If it does, I hope it does. But you
Yeah,
know, I'm
but
still going to work at other things.
yeah, and you've learned that your spirit is like within you. It's not the external stuff.
No, I mean, because it can. I mean, I guess, one day you're in the headline, next day you're in the breadline. I mean, if you don't like know how to function in life without having things, I mean, best basic necessities, yes, but anything outside of that, is like your wants. And, wants and needs are separate a lot of people from love.
Mm,
So I'm not a huge want person at this age. I just, trying to be grateful for what I have,
yeah,
you know. I don't I don't think success is by the things you have. I think it's about the challenge you can overcome.
I completely agree. It's like, where did you start or where did you go? And then what did you make of it?
Hmm.
I really like your analogy of like, I can make something out of nothing. Cause that's like, I don't know, it makes you feel good.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it makes you and the other person. I think that we're all here to put smiles on other people's faces with whatever we do. Sometimes it's the basic hello, how are you, how can I help you, of human to human. Anything past that, I believe it's like the war of souls. Me, I. What can I give to you?
Mm.
So I don't know what's worse for humans, fortune or misfortune.
That's funny.
You
It's all
know,
kind of the
They-
same thing, right?
well, sometimes we think a $10 lottery ticket is fortune.
Mm,
You know, to some people it is for that moment.
yeah.
So I mean, it's pretty good to have, to experience everything. I mean, if you become wealthy, it changes your life in certain ways where you have to make decisions that, sometimes are life altering. So,
Because you talked a lot about the war that we're kind of all fighting within ourselves. Do you see the
mhm,
same war right now? Obviously, it's always for eternity going on ever since humans have been alive, but is it
yeah,
kind of like what we're seeing externally right now with like the spiritual war? Do you feel like it's just that externalized?
I think it's so polarized now at the time we're at in the history of humans because of there's so much data and so much content of humans seeing each other with all this craziness and AI coming in that I don't know if people can handle that.
Mm,
I think it's a lot for people right now. I don't see it getting any better. And that's, you know, kind of lead me into writing the other stuff that I'm writing or creating. I'm a creator, not really a writer, but
what else are you creating?
so the Psycho Chef, we've kind of just came to the decision to bring it out as a live theatrical,
Ooh,
then maybe print into episodic TV.
nice.
And it's more about a celestial being that was kind of birthed out of a couple of Greek gods that's come to the universe with kind of a crew of these artists that kind of transform people through their art, not necessarily through like killing and all kinds of crazy stuff. And it's about sins and virtues and, how people kind of, again, just something that happened to me that transformed my thoughts by something, by love or compassion. Maybe it's the perfumist who gives you a scent and brings you back to where, oh man, my great grandma I love so much. And then all that craziness they were thinking gets shifted into, oh, let me love how my
Mm.
grandma loved people so much. So that's kind of the crew that runs out to the world and kind of just changes people one thing at a time. And
It's like a spirit team. So every time is it kind of like a heightened like it's a fantasy, right? So every time
yes,
somebody's like in a negative state of mind and they're thinking about doing something negative, like somebody physically shows up and like alters their
yes,
reality through art, right?
yes, yeah. And kind of
Okay. I love
You know, we like, yeah, and it's just kind of it'll start as play. It'll have a lot of music driven, fashion driven, modern, very very modern in today's society. But it's kind of got the arch enemies too. Hopefully, we can get some
cool.
out this year in a like a micro play,
It's really
like a
exciting.
kind of like a rock operation. Well, I don't know, little combo. It's got a lot of music, original music that we'll write to it. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. Is it gonna be your music that you're writing?
It'll be some of mine, and then kind of I work with a bunch of artists. Some are national, some are international that are here in St. Louis, and kind of a mix of genres. St. Louis to me, and of course, I think has some of the most talented people in the world, and I think it's a very underrated city that just has so much talent, but it's so hard for so many years to get out of here because, of course, you had the East and West Coast, and that was kind of that thing. But I don't think anymore you need that to have an outlet for anything.
Yeah, not at all. Not with the internet.
No,
Now you can just do
no.
everything from your hometown and
Yeah,
you don't have to go anywhere. Or
yeah. I
or
mean,
you don't need a home and you can go everywhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Throw spaghetti at the wall until it sticks.
Yes. Just what Spaghetti Wars was an example of how to manifest and get it done. So,
Yeah, you brought
pretty
together
great
a
stuff.
lot of people to do that.
Yeah.
A lot of people. Like the whole
Yeah, it
city
was
at
amazing.
one point.
Well, yeah, I mean, the one thing about St. Louis is they get involved, it's a good city where people get involved. So
Yeah.
kind of a small market.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I like to tell people. I'm like, when you're in St. Louis, nobody's getting paid for anything, but you will never
Well,
have to
that's
pay for anything because we like to exchange services. I
yeah,
told somebody, I was like, if you give me a ride to the airport, I'll give you a free parka that my grandma
right.
made or something. Like
Right,
it's like the most randomest thing that you just are like,
right,
you need this, I got this, and like vice
right,
versa.
right, right.
I would say it's probably the most resourceful city I've ever experienced for sure.
Yeah, man. I've lived a lot of places. It's a really interesting, nice city.
So you got up next, you're shopping Spaghetti Wars, you're producing Psycho Chef as a play first, and what else? Is there anything else?
Isn't that enough? I just sold a restaurant the other restaurant that I had, and that kind of frees that up a little bit. And so, yeah,
What was the other restaurant
great.
that you had that you sold?
The other one was called Rose by Pinot, and it was in Lafayette Square. It was a small little kind of French and Italian, and I had some partners, and they wanted to do some other things, so we kind of decided all that we just kind of let somebody else have a chance. It's a great little location, great little place. It's just it was not. Everybody kind of went their separate ways, and I was left holding the bag a little bit, but
Mm,
it's okay. You move on, and we did. We had a good little restaurant, and that's it. So next, and it won't be a restaurant. I can tell you that much.
really? You don't want to open it?
No, not right now. It's just too much,
I,
way too much.
yeah, I feel like one is quite enough, but two at the
One's
same time.
one's so much.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't necessarily operating or working there a lot. It was more of a partnership, but sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. Other people, they get burnt out on it if they're not used to it. It's one thing being a cook or being a chef or being a manager and then going and having your name attached and having to be there on Sunday and Monday when you're not really wanting to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's part of the whole deal.
How do you get over stuff like that?
Well, I mean, I've kind of been over it, for the last kind of while we were trying to sell it. So mentally, financially, I wasn't over it. I was still locked into it. So,
Okay.
but mentally, I'm definitely over it because I know that when we had it, people liked it and we did well, and it's not a big deal for me. I mean, again, I don't think it's a failure. I think you always got to have an exit strategy in anything you do in life, or you'll want to hold on to it forever. And when it goes, whether it's planned or not, you'd be like, I mean, people can't get over getting divorced. They can't get over relationships. They have to figure out somehow how to move on in life. you know?
So you're saying they should always have an exit strategy, meaning like you should have a backup plan the whole time, or what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I think that, like, if you're so emotionally attached to everything in life, you're gonna have a problem when you have to detach, or things happen, or death happens, or this or that. I mean, change is gonna happen for sure. I mean, your reaction to it is totally optional. So, I mean, you better have something before that happens to go, okay, man, I gotta be at peace with this,
Mm,
you know? I mean, even if you take a financial loss, you're like, okay, well, but, sometimes the bear eats you, sometimes you eat the bear. I mean, you just can't win everything.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not Donald Trump, thank God.
Yeah.
Just kidding, just kidding. I just thought I'd throw that jab in there.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
gets the jab all the time.
Just in case you're watching this. No.
I don't have a particular brand. I mean, if we can't poke fun at one another a little bit,
Yeah.
I don't even care. I just threw a little jab. That's all.
That's fun.
Look,
F. Wow. Yeah, you're so composed and like spiritual about everything now. It's kind of crazy.
well, I don't, again, man, I'm just trying to breathe and enjoy a little bit because, don't get it twisted. I'm still a little emotional turmoil and, just trying to get through this life, man. I'm really actually preparing my soul for the next journey, whenever that is, because I don't want to leave this life. And I know that the universe takes my spirit. I don't want to leave this life with a bad spirit.
Mm.
Mm-mm. That's the last thing I want, is to be miserable and bitter. And no, man, I've had a good life. So whatever happens from here on in, man, I'm okay. I might not like it all the time, but I have to live with it. You know,
Should we do a prayer for a sign off? Do you pray?
Abs- absolutely.
Oh, come on. Give me something.
Oh man, I hope that the universe and all the prophets that have come here and given us spiritual advice and how to be well and how you know, we can help each other as humans. I hope that all that positive energy can flow in you and me to go out to the world and say, here, thank you, love you, have a good day. I'm Megan. I bring people out to the world to show who they are. I hope that radiates for you for a long, 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 long time. And I hope that we just have some joy and love. And anything else that comes, we can handle that with dignity and love and grace.
And I hope
Amen.
that you, Pepe, I know that you will continue to share your spirit and your thoughts and your wisdom with younger people and all kinds of people, specifically who need to hear it at that moment. Just like your work of Psycho Chef, where the characters are helping people through dark times, I believe your words and message will reach people when they need to hear it as well. And I hope it continues to happen and you continue to prepare your soul to be very joyfully alive. Amen.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
Have a good
We'll
night. This is my high five.
high five. Peace out.
Wow. That was inspiring. If you feel inspired, please give this video a like. Please give us a subscribe. Send this to a friend. Oh my gosh, what an incredible, deeply spiritual conversation. That was Pepe Kehm. I'm your host, Megan A. Tully, and this has been Is There More? Thanks for listening.